Thank you all so much for joining us today. My name's Courtney Hurt. I am the program manager for Newsmatch here at the Institute for Nonprofit News. But also joining me is my colleague that I work very closely with, Christina Shee at News Revenue Hub. She's really going to run the show today. But Christina, I want to do a quick introduction of yourself and your org.
Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. I am based in San Diego, and I work at the News Revenue Hub. We're a nonprofit that helps newsrooms reimagine the business model for news. So we help newsrooms build membership programs, loyal audiences, as well as help provide some technical infrastructure to manage donations. But many of us have come from nonprofit newsrooms like yours. I used to work at Voice of San Diego, where I managed the membership program. And I also have been in a Newsmatch campaign myself. So I'm really excited today to get out of many of the conceptual things that we've talked about, the best practices, and really dive into what it takes to run a Newsmatch campaign and all of the exciting resources that we've put together for you. I think that's pretty good.
Thank you.
That's enough for an intro.
Yeah, appreciate it. Let's jump right in. Just FYI, again, this meeting is being recorded, so there will be a recording afterwards. And we post the recordings as well as all the links that will pop up throughout the chat today, or resources that we mentioned on the slides. They all are going to be made available on Newsmatch headquarters, which is at support.newsmatch.org. Some might be missing at this time because we're publishing them right after this webinar, but you can go there. That's your one-stop shop to really find anything that we are going to talk about today. First, want to start with a few announcements. If you could jump to the next slide. The big one being, you might have seen in your inbox or on the listserv the announcement of the current match cap. For folks that are new to Newsmatch, the match cap is the maximum amount that Newsmatch will award to a single newsroom. This year, the National Match Fund is going to be concentrated amongst those organizations that have operating budgets $1 million and below. And if that is you, the Newsmatch match cap is $10,000. As I shared in the email and on the listserv, we are really in active fundraiser mode. Last year, I think we got this information to you all in mid-October. But we're really trying to do our best to give you as much information earlier on, so you have more time to prepare for the campaign. But the trade-off is that, we're still in fundraising mode. There are grants and proposals that are pretty warm and are close to closing, but again, aren't reflected here because they haven't been completely finalized yet. So this number could change. The other thing that you will see is partner funds. So the large organizations, there is no national match cap for large organizations. However, large organizations are eligible to receive partner funds as well as bonuses. And the only partner fund that we have confirmed is for those newsrooms led by and serving communities of color. But of the grant proposals that we're looking to close, many of them are partner funds. We expect this list to grow, and you will see over the next 2 weeks more announcements about partner funds that are available. If you could jump to the next slide, if we dig down a little bit deeper. So of that $10,000, or if you are a large organization that receives a partner fund, we will match up to $1,000 for each individual donor. So if a donor gives $5,000 during your campaign, we will only match up to $1,000. We call this the individual donor match cap. So you'll hear like the campaign match cap, which is the match cap for newsrooms, that's $10,000. The individual donor match cap, the match cap of which we will grant for any one single donor, is $1,000. Another good thing that you'll see sort of be, and these are really relevant for the campaign toolkit, because a lot of the emails and social copy sort of explain this in a way that a lot simpler in a way that readers understand, but we wanted to give you this background before we jump in. The new member bonus, for those organizations receiving receiving the $10,000 national match fund dollars or partner funds, any of those donations that you receive that are new monthly recurring donations are matched at their annual value. So if someone makes a donation of $10 a month, it yields a match of $120. Again, these rules that are on the screen now only apply to organizations receiving national match funds. Again, those are smaller organizations below 1 million, or organizations receiving partner funds, which can include larger organizations. I'm just going to quickly answer 2 questions in the chat because they are relevant. Will there be a match for orgs with a larger operating budget? Nina, no, there's not a national match for organizations with a larger operating budget. However, if you are selected to receive partner funds, you are given a cap in that context. Rachel asked, and new members' individual caps are both still under the 1 million budget qualification. Correct. These 2 rules only apply to the national match fund or partner funds. Another person asked, if we have an operating budget over 1 million, then we would not receive news match funds this year. There are 3 different types of news match funds. The first is funds coming from the National Match Fund. The answer is no. Large organizations will not receive match dollars coming from the National Match Fund. The other 2 types of funding sources, the answer is you are eligible to receive them. The second is partner funds. Those are funds that geographic-based funders or interest-based funders will say, I'm building this fund, but I want it to only go to newsrooms led by and serving people of color. I'm building this fund, but I only want it to go to newsrooms covering the sciences. Those partner funds, large organizations are eligible for. You will be notified if you have been selected to receive a partner fund. The selection process is sort of in the hands of the interested funder. The other award that large organizations are eligible to receive are goal-based bonuses, meaning if you hit a certain performance metric, you receive essentially a prize or an award as an incentive. Those have yet to be announced. All right, Christina, I will jump on over to, the other thing I wanted to share is that when I'm meeting with a lot of large organizations in my office hours, I get that question a lot. Just so you know that really the way to win with Newsmatch for both small and large organizations is using Newsmatch and what we are offering as a seed to really build local supporters to provide match funds. So this includes your ability to secure match funds from local businesses, from major donors, and even from other local foundations. And what we saw last year is Newsroom successfully did that. Nearly $3.1 million of matched dollars actually came from dollars that Newsroom secured themselves. So we have office hours available with a major gift coach who is really helping newsrooms to sort of execute the strategy. We've been doing training over the past 2 or 3 months on this subject, but I think, at this, people are busy. And so you might just be thinking about this at this very moment. All those resources, again, are on Newsmatch HQ at support.newsmatch.org. And if you click the button under learnings called office hours, you can even schedule one-on-one coaching with Diane Riemann, who is a specialist on securing and cultivating large donations. Christina, actually, I copied and pasted here and forgot to update the topics you covered. Clarification, Christina is not the specialist on local match supporters, but she is the specialist on the campaign toolkit. So you can also book office hours with Christina on the support site. Lastly, we have another webinar coming up on Friday that is going to cover the reporting process. So how do I get the match money? We'll go through that with the team at the Miami Foundation. All right, Christina, I will pass the mic on to you.
Thank you. So for this next section, we're really going to break down what goes into the toolkit. So I'm going to share my screen in a bit. But before we get into that, I kind of wanted to talk about what are the components that should be in your fundraising campaign. We're about to embark on a 2-month journey together, and I know it can seem pretty overwhelming. Where do you even begin? How do you make sure you're doing the right thing? So I kind of wanted to just, break it down into 3 categories, how I would, approach a campaign of this size and layers. So the first thing that, I think is important for all of us to think about is, what is your goal for the campaign and how do you create a plan to be able to hit that goal? I think for many of us, we're not sure how much money we're going to raise, or if we should be communicating a monetary bonus or a member bonus. We want to get 100 new donors, that sort of thing. These are all things to really think about as you start, building the components of your campaign. Many organizations have been securing local matches or talking to their board or major donors to come in and pool together additional funds. This could be if you don't get the match cap this year or you want to augment the match cap. These are great ways to start engaging some of your high level supporters, but they're also great opportunities to weave them into the campaign and leverage for more broad support. There's also, just staying organized and building your campaign roadmap, and we'll have some examples in a bit. It's also great to think about what are the components of your campaign. We're all digital first newsrooms. So digital is going to be a huge focus of the toolkits that we put together. So this could be things like email appeals, social media, personal outreach, or maybe if you have some sort of print component, some orgs like to do a little bit of light direct mail. It's all about finding what components work best for your organization and really how to spend your time over the next few months. Additionally to organizing your resources, think about who else is on your team. How can you organize them and mobilize them to be able to help you run this campaign? So in addition to, the team, if you have a development staff, or if you're, 1 or 2 people, who else? Are there volunteers or board members or community ambassadors that can help amplify your message or make asks on your behalf? It's also great to think about what those roles could be and how they all fit into your overall campaign map. And then finally, the last component is once you've launched, I think it's just great to stay nimble, keep track of your progress, go back to the goals that you set and think about, can you deploy additional tactics if you need to hit goals, or should you pivot your goal? If you hit your goal early, should you do a stretch goal? These are all things to think about as you work your way through the campaign. And then also just communicate your progress to readers. So I know that was a kind of a lot all at once, but I think it'll make sense once we get to this next section where I will transition to sharing the toolkit. Now let's see. Can you all see this?
Yeah.
Okay. So after this webinar, we will be posting a link on the Newsmatch support HQ page that will link directly to this Google Drive. And this is the toolkit. So when you're looking at this, there are a few things that you should, I'd say first, the Start Here guide is a great place to begin. So we'll go through that first. So this is a guide that we've created to basically give you the context behind the campaign, this year's theme and messaging, and help guide you on how to take advantage of all the assets in this toolkit. The first one here is the campaign theme. And if you guys participated in Newsmatch last year, it will sound familiar. We spent a lot of time doing user interviews, surveys, and working with the marketing firm to come up with the call to action, news for the people with the people. It's really something that we think has a lot of relevance today, and we've updated it slightly to just be able to reinforce this idea that nonprofit news is a movement that's taking place in neighborhoods all over the country, really reporting on critical issues that affect all of us. And everybody from the reporters to your newsrooms to the people that consume your news all have a role to play in this. So you'll see a lot of this messaging be woven into the email marketing, the digital assets, the social media copy. But if you want to kind of take a stab at writing, your own, here are some ways that you can pull out and extract some taglines in your own copy that are based off of this overarching theme. So this is one example, and I wanted to just give you some context there. The second is a call to action. Every element of your campaign needs to end with some sort of directive to the reader. it's give now, spread the word to your friends, or something like that. And given the structure of this year's program, we wanted to provide examples, different calls to action for different scenarios. So we have one here, if you qualify for the one-to-one match, we have little examples. They're kind of Mad Lib style, and you'll see this format appear throughout the campaign. This is how, we're pressing the recurring donations. If you do not qualify for a one-to-one match, we have the ability for you to, insert your local funder or your local match that you've secured on your own. So you can take that approach. And then finally, if you don't qualify for a one-to-one match, you don't have a local match secured, we have two options here where we're just trying to raise this amount by December 31st. Or, if we're thinking about the nonprofit news industry as a larger movement, the campaign has identified a big goal. We want to raise $55 million for this sector. Please do your part and give today. So that's one element, and you'll also see this again in some of the more detailed materials. Next, we have the campaign roadmap. This is also accessible here, but again, if you can't find your way, just always come back here. This is an example of a roadmap. It's basically a schedule that should really guide your next steps over the next 2 months. So we encourage you to create this and duplicate it and make it your own. Share it with people on your team, board members, volunteers who are going to be helping you, and really begin to think about how do these steps and actions fit into your editorial schedule, any events that you might be planning, or just your general workload, the holidays. There's going to be a lot of different things that may interrupt the campaign, so you don't want a week or two to go by and realize I'm a little bit behind. So this guiding doc can help really take you from November to December. So we just have some examples of things that you should do, from now until the campaign launches. Send social media, send emails, load up your banner ads, finalize your findyournews.org profile. These are all things that you can be doing over the next few weeks to get ready. And then we have just examples of what you should be doing, week after week. Going back to the guide, this is where we really get into the meat of things. As I mentioned, being digital news organizations, we really put a lot of emphasis on emails. If you had participated in some of the webinars that the News Revenue Hub team led this summer, you might remember that, emails are our bread and butter. We found that emails convert more have a higher conversion rate than, converting off of things like social or maybe your website. And we found them to be really important for a campaign. So we have put together email pitches. Here's a link to the English ones, and we also have Spanish translations available. So when you open this document, you'll see a few different things. First, you'll see the copy, and this red text is what I was calling the Mad Lib style. Basically, we wanted to get you about 90% of the way there to really understand what should go into an email appeal. How do you talk about the campaign? How do you communicate this message to your readers, but then give you room to customize it on your own? So anywhere that you see this red text, consider it a prompt and customize it to fit your own voice, your mission, and the things that you're doing. Again, this is where we see the different calls to action. But as you get deeper into the campaign toolkit, you'll probably need to be a little bit more involved and think about what you're going to be asking at different points during the next 2 months. Additionally, we have suggestions. Again, these suggestions, they're just to help you figure out the cadence of a campaign, but we encourage you to customize it to fit your editorial schedule, the events that you have, or anything else that should factor into your campaign. In addition to this text, we have, if you're on MailChimp, we have these preloaded into MailChimp. So all you have to do is just click it and it'll be added to your library, and you can just customize the logo or anything that you want, but this should be in there too. And we have suggested subject lines as well. We also have Spanish versions. And then we also have, HTML versions of the English pitches if you use something like Constant Contact and want to just preload something. We also have social media copy for Facebook and Twitter, and we have Spanish and English versions as well. So to coincide with each pitch, we have language that you can use for Facebook, language that you can use for Twitter. And again, we hope you use this in whatever way you need. You can use this and use this language, or you can use it as inspiration and customize it to fit your social strategies, the voice that you have. It's really up to you. All right, going back to this, we also have some tips and tricks. So for us, we really believe this is all about fundraising. You'll have your editorial newsletter products that can guide people back to the stories. But for this, the goal is to get people to put in their credit cards into that checkout page. So one of our best practices is to resist the urge to link to anything else other than your donation page. So just keep that in mind. Also, this is going to be a long campaign. So it's important to acknowledge donors who have already given to previous pitches or who are existing donors to you. So anytime you get into week 5 or week 6, always consider the segments that you're sending out and acknowledge the status of people who are given if you're going to be asking them again. Another way to take advantage of these pitches is to send a fake forward. You can send one appeal in the morning, and you may be able to segment out who did not open them. Send a fake forward, just put forward in the subject line and have it come from someone prominent within your organization. Hey, did you see Courtney's email that she sent this morning? So these are all little tips and tricks that you can use. And again, think about staying nimble. What are the different tactics that you can deploy at different points in your campaign to drive more momentum? Again, just the Mad Lib style, we have some tips on how to customize the pitch. And then finally, design assets. We put together, the style guide with different colors, and we have Google fonts that you can access and download. These are all found throughout the design assets. We also put together just one quick thing. We have Illustrator files of all of the assets, but I'm not great at Illustrator, so we also put together Canva templates. At the end of this, I know I'm throwing a lot at you. I think we should take a break for a Q&A, but at the end, for anyone who's not familiar with Canva, I can walk through how to use it, and happy to show you how to customize and update these. So we basically put together, these ads. If you want, you can add your own logo, which is why you can use Canva. If not, you can also just send these out. We also have email headers. We have a donation meter, which helps you, let me click on this, lets people see, how far you are along in your progress. Always communicate your progress. People want to know how they can be part of your journey. And then we have social media graphics for Facebook headers, posts, Twitter posts, and Twitter headers. And then finally, Giving Tuesday, or as we like to call it, Giving News Day, will take place on November 30th. So we have some graphics that you can use on your social channels. All right. I think that's probably it as far as the campaign toolkit goes. I guess I'll stop sharing my screen and pause for questions.
Yeah, folks are asking where can they find it. I'm just going to walk everyone through where to find this, all these great resources. So I'm going to share my screen. So if you go to the support.news.org, that's what we also call this campaign headquarters. But here you go to this page and you can scroll down to the toolkit section. And this overview will take you to that guide that Christina just walked through. That kind of just is the big picture. Here's what the campaign toolkit is. You can also jump to the roadmap, which will give you, you open this and it links to that Google document that says, here's what you do for each week. And if you just want the full library of resources, you click digital assets and it'll dump you right into that folder that we were just walking through. So again, just want to show folks again, If you're just looking to get a hold of everything, you can go to Toolkit and just select digital assets or digital campaign assets. That opens this Google folder. Are there any other questions?
So I know we threw a lot at you.
Yeah.
So there's a few resources I do want to plug. As Courtney mentioned, we'll be holding office hours. I'm happy to meet with anybody to, understand figure out how do you prioritize your time? What are the things that you should do? Or how can you start to add on and level up your campaign? I'm happy to be a thought partner in all of this. The second one is we will be sending out a series of emails called the weekly assignment. It basically will just deliver that week's assignment to your inbox and also highlight progress from other organizations that we think are great examples, and kind of give you some prompts or ideas to move through the campaign. So if you want to just stay focused on 1 week at a time, that is a great way to just focus your energy.
Beverly asked what's the best way to sort of reach you, Christina, for folks who have questions?
I will drop my email. I also get the hello@newsmatch.org emails. So if you forget that one or misplace it, you can email hello@newsmatch.org and I'll make sure to reply.
Yeah, hello@newsmatch.org is a great backstop because that email will go to myself, Christina, as well as our team member we work with at the Miami Foundation, who deals with all the payment administration and the reporting process. So that's sort of an easy, like, one-stop shop. Either three of us can respond based on your question. Do you mind just showing, can we walk through some of the banner ads and then we can then take a look at Canva, just show them, like, some examples, some of the visuals that our design team is.
So I just want to mention, you can use Canva, you can use a free account, but nonprofits can apply for a complimentary pro account, which is great because you can get members of your team all into the same account. So you can all be working on assets at the same time. So here's an example of some of the ads that we have, and we have these templates here. So you can use these ones. So this one is designed to, you can customize it to call out your specific region. I live in San Diego. You can have one line if you have, and I also listed what type of font and recommended sizing you should have. If you have, a longer, I don't know, some sort of your neighborhood, 2 lines, you can use this version as well. There's also a way to be able to add your own logo. So what you would want to do is go to uploads, and I'm going to upload the hub logo. Take a second, and then all you got to do is just drag it in, and this is where I would think, oh, I need to have our white logo or our monochrome logo. So you can put this here, and then when you're done, you can just export it, and you can pick, if you want this first version. This is the one that I created. I'm going to do this file because I'm going to have it online, and just click download. And then from there, you'll be able to upload your graphics onto your website or social media.
The thing that we saw last year newsrooms do too, you might think, well, can I change these colors to like my brand colors? And we get that question all the time. Technically you can. So you can't using Canva, but we did provide the Illustrator files. So if you have a graphic designer, you can open those Illustrator files, and you can, in fact, like modify these with your brand colors or modify them with your brand fonts and things like that. I think some of the advantage of using the guides that we provided, particularly on social media, is that you'll see this, visually, like in terms of us running a national awareness campaign about nonprofit news, it has a greater visual impact because it's consistent. So like a viewer might see the same note from your organization as they do as another newsroom, or even or even a funder ad that we're running as INN, and realize this is one cohesive effort. However, we always encourage newsrooms to do what is best for you. Newsmatch is here to serve your goals and strategies. So if you need to modify, you absolutely can. Christina, do you mind just in the guide, or maybe even in Canva, like you're doing now, just showing the different types of ads and sizes and dimensions, as well as the email assets, that the visual email assets that we have available?
Yeah. So these are examples again of the digital ads. So I was just kind of showing through, like if I were to add it and just add multiple, use multiple ads, how you would download all in one batch. We also have these email headers. So if you want to use this at the top of your MailChimp or Constant Contact, you can also use these as well. Here you can always see the size, and we've created this to be optimized for like a single to go across the top. But if you ever need to adjust it, you can always update the size and dimensions of these here. You may need to play around with it with proportions, but this is always a way to be able to get it to what you need it to be. I wanted to call out, and we also have some of the Spanish calls to action reflected in the ads as well. This is another interactive one. It's called the donation meter. So just, oops. We have a placeholder text for your goal amount, your deadline date, and the amount unlocked. And again, when you click this type of link, you'll be given a template. So you'll click use template. And then here you can say, we want to raise, let's see, $50,000 by December 31st. And right now, let's see, we're like, I don't know, halfway there. So I'm going to drag this bar out. Oops. And maybe you can also, have some language right here that says 25,000 raise. Or you could also say on the other side, 25,000 left to go. And you can say you want to lock X amount of dollars. So you can keep this as a living asset and just update it throughout the course of the campaign. And then for social media graphics, we have Facebook headers. If you want to change the look of your Facebook profile during the course of the campaign, you can do that. Same with Twitter headers. And then we also have posts for some of these things as well. And again, you can drop in your logo. One other thing I wanted to share, this might be a little, actually, Courtney, maybe can you share the MailChimp? I don't think the demo is going to work for me since I created it in our MailChimp, but we have these links here. Let me just show you really quickly.
Okay.
We have these template links. So when you click a link, this is a guide for MailChimp. All you have to do is just click the link and it'll automatically be added to your library. From there, you can go to your templates and then turn it into a campaign. Update everything and then turn it into a campaign. So hopefully, if you work in MailChimp instead of in a Google Doc or Word doc or something like that, this probably could save you some steps. Any other questions about this? I know probably it's best to just take some time, get familiar with all of the resources that are available. And then also, if you guys have any comments or, any challenges or issues, just let us know. Sometimes we find little glitches here and there. So it's always good to have, to be aware of that so you can make those changes immediately. I just remembered one other thing in the campaign that I forgot to mention. In addition to the email pitches, we also have what we call a newsletter topper. It might be something that you heard in a campaign or one of our webinars where there's some people who just can suss out when something's a fundraising appeal and will just delete the email. But if you put some message at the top of your editorial newsletter, like your daily morning report or weekly newsletter, you can't really avoid that. So we have some brief messaging on how to just, have it sit at the top of your newsletter saying that this is going to be, there's no way that this weekly arts and culture report would be possible without support from readers. So give today. So this is one example. And then also, there's over 300 newsrooms in Newsmatch this year. And so maybe some of the messages won't fit your organization exactly, but we created some prompts for 3 different types of appeals if you wanted to take a stab at writing your own. So we have one that kind of reflects on all the impact that you've made this past year through your reporting, and some questions to kind of get you thinking about how can you help connect the dots and have readers understand how their support funds your reporting, which makes an impact on your community. The second one looks ahead at 2022, all the things that you want to accomplish. Do you want to launch a new beat? Do you want to have a new investigative series, something that you needed funded, or launch a podcast? These are ways to get people excited about the future and also bring them into the vision of your organization. And then finally, since many of you may be securing local matches or engaging your board or major donors, you could structure this as an interview with a local funder or supporter, someone who's been in your wheelhouse for a long time or is very loyal to your newsroom and can be an advocate. So this is a great way, you could ask them to write a letter of support on your behalf or structure it as a Q&A if you want to be able to take that format. So there's a few different ways that you can make the campaign your own, and so we wanted to give you some ideas for how to get started. But if you have any other ideas or creative messaging that you roll out during the campaign, please share it with us. We love to see this type of stuff at work.
I think that last page on prompts is great to really use and utilize all year long. After Newsmatch, if you're doing a spring campaign, honestly, feel free to riff off of these resources as well, tweaking it and really helping to provide, maybe like a way to structure other campaigns that you're doing throughout the year. Thank you. I see a question here. Hi, Christine and Courtney. Is there any chance to have an updated match fund more than 10K? If yes, when will this match cap be updated? Yeah, it is possible that it can increase from 10K, and it's floating. It could be October 28th, it could be November 11th, it could be December 10th. Like last year, we saw the match cap increase. I think it was like within a week before the campaign launched, and then another bonus was added like December, like in the middle of December. Generally, these delays are, quite frankly, because of we're still fundraising and funders are going through their process and protocols to make final decisions, and some funders are aren't able to make those as early as we'd hope and we like, but at the same time we are grateful to get them on board if they're able to close up before the end of the year. When this happens, what the best way to leverage this is really as a it's a leverageable opportunity where you are able to say to newsrooms, an additional funder has come on and we're now stretching this to 12,000. Like, join this effort, join this movement. More people are realizing the power of our journalism. It's a great actually messaging point that can break up the repetitiveness of your campaign. You see this a lot in Kickstarters, like everyone's hearing the same message, over and over and over again, and you're able to sort of boost it with exciting news or updates or things like that. And that's how you can leverage changes that happen midway through the campaign. It's our goal to get you this number before November 1, but it could actually, if a funder comes in and the deal doesn't close to November 15th, and we notify you all the day after, it could change midway through the campaign. Someone asked, are donations from donors who began recurring donations before November 1st eligible for matching? Of the recurring donations, if they started a donation, the recurring donation, say January of this year, what we will match during the campaign are their monthly contributions that they make in November and December. So if I, have a $10 a month donation, I started in January, for Newsmatch, the $10 that I give in November are matched, and the $10 that I give in December are matched. However, if I made a one-time donation to you in January, say for like $50, and it was just a one-time donation, and then I hear, well, if I begin a new recurring donation during Newsmatch, they'll get my gift for its annual value. So I could have given you $50 in January, but if I start my $10 donation on November 1st, then what you will receive, because it is a new recurring donation, I'm making a recurring donation for the very first time, that is matched at the annual value. There's another question up here about, it will be, can you send a calendar of national media campaigns that you'll be running that local organizations can piggyback on? Karen, what we can do is a lot of our media strategy is earned media. So we're sending press releases and don't always know far in advance if the story is going to be picked up. But when it is, if stories are picked up, we can share that most likely through the listserv. Things that we do that are scheduled, like our digital ads, we're planning to do a social media campaign to really point people to the new findyournews.org website. That will run, I can tell you that now, that will run through the campaign November and December. And when that is live, we can notify you all through the listserv. If recurring donors up their, sorry, I'm just going through questions now. I don't know if we're officially at the Q&A, but okay. So if recurring donors up their donation amount between November 1st and December 31st, will that be matched for the annual value? No, only the gifts that they make. If it's an existing recurring donation, whatever, only the gifts made within the match period will be matched unless it's brand new. Apologies if you have already addressed this. Is there an incentive for existing recurring donations to increase their monthly gifts? No, other than supporting the work, other than them supporting your journalism, obviously, but those gifts are also matched. So like you could say, if you increase your gift from a $15 a month to a $20 a month, that is more money for the journalism that you care about. And then that $20 will be matched if you do it now. I always think that some of these, one way to sort of okay, like you have different segments of readers, right? You have people who have never given to you that might receive one message, but you can do like these mini messages to people who are already giving to you, saying like, you made a one-time, this is a really great opportunity to renew your gift. So like, say you made a donation in January, don't wait until January to renew your gift, like do it now. Because when you do it now, when you do it early, it's going to get matched. For those that are recurring donors, I don't think the incentive is really that strong for them to increase their gift, other than you just like really leaning into your campaign goal. Like, so if you set a campaign goal of $100,000, by them increasing their gift now, they're getting you closer to your goal. I feel like you can lean on some more of the non-match incentives that you have. Again, all these resources are available at, support.newsmatch.org. That is your sort of one-stop shop. You can use the search bar to really find any and everything. And it also includes recordings of past webinars, local match resources, lots of FAQ. Whenever I get question, I'm like, that's a really good question. I immediately update the FAQ there. So there's a wealth of information there. And again, hello@newsmesh.org. I'll drop that back in the chat. But again, hello@newsmesh.org is also a place for you to just send along questions that you may have. Christina, we really appreciate your time, and your team has done a really good job at putting all this information together. I can't wait to see it come to life.
Yeah.
And
we're just so excited. We like this time of year is just so inspiring, and it's great to just get all of the pitches in our inboxes and go on Twitter and just see the ads in real life. So good luck out there. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out.
Great. We will give everyone 10 minutes of their day back. Appreciate all the thoughtful questions. And again, best of luck. And we're here if you need us. All right. Bye-bye.